I'm being joined by Barrister Ifeshkudan Jacobs, a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, the presenter. Viewers, you're welcome to the program.
Merry Xmas.
I wish you the same.
It's not easy to be in the studio this morning.
It's not easy, my brother.
All right, we'll begin with the major stories on the ABS website. Obiano urges Christians to show love at Christmas. 2019, Archbishop Opala asks Nigerians to pray for peaceful elections. Sustain selfless giving, Mrs. Obiano urges at Christmas. Traditional rulers tasked on peaceful working relationship with President General of Communities. ABS staff, Ifi Onachukwu wins Best Soul Lifting Presenter of the Year award. Anambra opens Nengo Bridge in Teje to traffic. Utide, Oka records high vehicular movements. Maybe we'll start with the Christmas celebrations, although we'll still have time to discuss that later in the day. But the messages will never end. Obiano is asking Christians to show love at Christmas, sustain selfless giving. That's coming from Mrs. Obiano.
Well, today being the Christmas Day celebration, we know what Christ himself represents. He represents peace, love, salvation to mankind. So he came to introduce peace to the world, to salvage mankind from sin, and to show love. It's because of love that he came. So it's good that we share love among ourselves too.
But it seems as if these days we only leave it for Christmas to share the love, as if it's not something that we should live out on a daily basis.
Well, from the look of things in this world today, people have misunderstood the essence of Christmas. Christ came over 2,000 years ago. He was born over 2,000 years ago. He introduced love. We're supposed to be celebrating Christmas almost every day. Though today is the actual day set aside by Christians in the whole world to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ. But we should celebrate love every day.
At all times.
Show love every day. And when you're showing love every day to your neighbors, doing good, upholding principles of Christ that made him to die, peace, tolerance, we should allow it to be our daily activities, not for a special day.
All right. Let's move over now to the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Daily Sun front page, Christmas frenzy is still taking the rounds. Buhari Atiku governors, Carlo tax Christians on Utide. Paris Club reform, federal government puts total disbursement to states at $5.4 billion. Bade abductors free farm manager after collecting 3 million naira ransom. Ohaneze calls for dismantling of multiple roadblocks in southeast. Buhari orders military to end killings in Zamfara state. As usual, top government officials will normally release press releases to urge to send out their Christmas messages to Nigerians at this time. But particularly, something that continues to raise concerns is the deaths in Zamfara state. Seeing this happen at this period of celebration.
It's a worrisome situation in that area of Nigeria. It seems that from what is happening within this country, that security arrangement in this country have been overwhelmed by criminalities. To get the point, we should review the tactics and strategies to manage security issues in this country. We should not play with it. It seems it has been politicized. So security issues have been politicized. Killings every day. And look at the four-star general,
Alex
Bade, killed just like that in a country like Nigeria.
And it's concerning when we have Bade abductors free farm manager after collecting 3 million naira ransom. The police told us that we will do everything possible to find out who was responsible. But this same group of people are still engaging in release of people they abducted I think his personal assistant and now the farm manager now. Does it mean that there's no concrete efforts that have been made to get these people, and looking at the impunity with the way they are still making demands, that would tell you that there are no efforts already?
To show you what I have said earlier, from that arraignment, I have showed you what they are doing with their security system. They have politicized it. Actually, that demand for ransom would have been offered the security operative in this country
the opportunity
to nail these people to the bar, to arrest all of them. At least, even if you don't arrest all of them at once, arrest somebody that will give clue to other people's arrest, to smart that gang. Okay, you will pay them ransom before, since they establish contact. That's an opportunity to do everything possible to make sure that they're apprehended. Imagine a four-star general. What would ordinary Nigerians, what would happen to ordinary Nigerians when they are being killed and abducted like that?
Ohaneze calls for dismantling of multiple roadblocks in Southeast.
It is, well, it's normal in the Southeast. The police they are used to mount road blocks, not because of security reasons, because of their posts. They mount those road blocks to collect money from transporters and other road users, which is very, very wrong. So the call to dismantle those multiple roadblocks is a call in the right direction by the organizer.
I wonder, it's been a practice that have lasted for long. I don't think calls would solve the situation now.
Well, we need to take actions.
What are these actions that should be taken?
We should start to petition to IG about all these things. And take actions against those of them that are collecting to those roadblocks. Because they mount those roadblocks to collect tolls from the motorists.
All right, now let's move over to the Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times, we have Buhari says commitment to credible polls, not a ruse. That's in his Christmas message. Urges Nigerians to build relationships outside ethnic, religious, and political divides. APC, PDP tax Nigerians on nation building. CBN, MTN resolve dispute over $8.1 billion forex repatriation. Presidential panel submits report on suspended NHIS scribe to federal government. The stories are still similar. Federal government planning to cut down taxes, says finance minister.
Well, on the issue of credible election, they should match the West with action. 2019 is around the corner, and the election will come in the first quarter of the year. So the presidency should make sure that that election is as free as possible, so that whoever that wins that election, we know that the Nigerians are truly supported him to be there, not to maneuver anything at all in that election, to make sure that every contestant is given opportunity, equal opportunity before the electorates.
You know, it's always concerning when we talk about credible polls. Let me take, for example, the 2011 elections. The 2 days of the election and the calling of results were, to an extent, described by so many observers as being credible and peaceful. But we saw post-election violence that has not been told in the history of Nigeria that followed immediately. I don't know, how do we ensure that we manage before, during, and after the elections?
And that is the major issues that the security operative have to address, because they are concerned with issue of the election day alone, but they are not proactive about what happens after the election. When you are making sure that the election is well conducted in peaceful atmosphere, you should put measures in place in case if there will be any violence after the election, to contain it as well. But most of the time, our security operators are carried away They don't foresee. Because even if they have proper intelligence gathering, after the election, they might have known through intelligence gathering that there will be trouble after. They will make arrangements to contain it. But most of them, they only concern them with physical presence.
So, what are we going to do in the system generally to address mindset, to make people believe more in the system? You know, what leads to violence most times is that even the system was not trusted by the people. So, how do we make the people going into the elections and during the elections to believe that this system will deliver their choice to them?
The only way to make it happen now, to make it that the people will believe in the system, is to make sure that the electoral process is as transparent as possible, as free as possible. Let the populace not see it in another direction. Don't tell them yes when you mean no. Do you get the point? When they observe that, they will not take it for you.
All right, let's move now to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, the front page is very busy. Buhari, Nigeria recorded many deaths, unnecessary deaths in 2018. Saraki Dogara, governors, Tinubu, Kuka, Fayose, others greet Nigerians at Christmas. NMPC spent 1.5 billion naira daily on petrol subsidy, despite 6 meetings, not packed. Okay, despite 6 meetings, no pact with federal government yet. That's coming from ASU. MTN pays $52.6 million to end dispute with CBN. And then Buhari will campaign at Akwa Ibom Stadium, and insists 2019 budget to wait till after the polls. That's coming from the National Assembly members.
Well, like on the issue of Buhari making that statement that there were many unnecessary deaths in this 2019, it's an indictment on himself because he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and chief security officer of the country. That shows that he accepted a failure in the security system. By now, he would have reorganized the security architecture of this country. Most of those service chiefs that were there and things have been messed up under them, he would have removed them to change titles, to bring in new hands, to know if things will work better. But he remained committed to them and now complaining to Nigeria. Who is he complaining to? He is the person that we should look up to secure this country. And I don't know, it's unnecessary death. So he has inducted himself. That's the issue. Being the chief security officer of this country.
All right, let's look at the 2019 budget. It says the 2019 budget to wait till after the polls. That's coming from the National Assembly.
I'm not surprised to hear that because the timing in presentation of the budget is very, very wrong. In this month of December, you know that the election is coming first quarter of next year. They would have, look at the 2018 budget. Is it not of recent? Of late they passed it and no implementation, and they present another budget. Had even the presidency is mindful of the 2019 election, the budget is supposed to have been presented 3 months ago or even earlier to make sure that the National Assembly have time to look into it and pass it into law. Now that all of them are asking for re-election, even they are not saying for it, they are supporting their party. Everybody is interested in the issue hand now.
Yes, but you know the presidency rolled over some parts of the 2018 budget into the 2019.
I agreed.
To meet up with the budget fiscal year.
I agreed.
How do we address this issue? Looking at, you saw the drama that played out during the presentation itself, and we know the history of the National Assembly and the president in budget passage and implementation. Do you think that this budget will still get to 6 months or 7 months before its passage again?
Well, from the look of things and the timing, we might get up to that 6 months because after the election, those new ones that will come in, before you put the new National Assembly constituted, coming together to look. They have to look into other things first to stabilize before looking into the major issue of budget. It might be up to 4 or 6 months before it will pass. Because once the election is over, maybe it's swearing to take over. Before they will start to talk about, it's not when you swear the president in, he will now inaugurate the National Assembly. The National Assembly will start to look into issue of budget and other national issues. So by the timing, it will take a longer time for that this 2019 budget to be passed.
All right, let's move now to the Nation newspaper. The Nation, on the front page of the Nation, leaders to Nigerians pray for successful 2019 elections. Buhari, Saraki, Tinubu, Atiku greet Nigerians at Christmas. Security forces drafted in Zamfara. $2.8 million haul, EFCC files for interim forfeiture. Tributes as Sophia Oluwore dies at 83. Then we have other stories there. Otedola offloads 75% stake in Fort Oil. Wolves lose out on Moses. APC to use Akpabio Stadium. Those are the stories on the front page of the Nation. Leaders to Nigerians pray for successful 2019 elections. I don't know if it's actually these leaders that should be making this request when we know that they are the people entrusted with the responsibility
it's Nigerians
to
that are
ensure
supposed
free
to
and
be
fair.
telling them. We Nigerians are people that are supposed to be telling them to ensure peaceful election. Because they are the people that have everything under their control. We are just supporting them by coming out to vote, isn't it? Because every arrangement, security arrangement, and every logistics about the election is in the hand of leaders. The only thing they have to do to carry Nigerians along is to make sure that that election is free and fair and transparent to the whole world.
Okay.
And moreover, on the issue of this 2.8
million naira haul or something.
EFCC is talking about going to court for forfeiture. I don't know whether this EFCC is playing to the gallery or doing the job of actually fighting corruption in this country.
Why do you say so?
Why I say so, that issue, that 2.8 million, a bank have written to them and to CBN that they are the owner of that money.
But I don't know, the bank has written, but was it the right way, did they follow the right procedure of movement of cash of that amount?
This issue of money laundering, we should actually define it properly. When you talk about money laundering in this country, we know that bank, they have the bankers' warehouse, and we know that they move money from one location to another. That's why you see Brim Van going about, they are carrying cash. And moving money from, because from the report, they said the money was moved from Newe and maybe Onitsha to...
Moving to Onitsha.
Moving from there to Enugu, possibly to fly the money to Lagos.
Another part of the country.
Another part of the country. By the time, I'm sure that before they bought that aircraft, they might have declared that money to the officials for the purpose. If they had declared that money the way it's supposed, I don't think they should tag it as money laundering. So
you believe the problem is actually with what the law says money laundering is?
Yes, they should not a bank, that moves cash. Money laundering should be defined. If it's an individual, because these people collect the money, they are the people that secure the money, save the money for the citizen. And they have the right to move those cash from one point to other for security reasons or for one purpose or the other. Even the EFCC is rushing to the press to announce the seizure of that money. It's unfortunate. They should have investigated and questioned the relevant persons, conclude the investigation before going to the press.
All right, let's move now to Daily Independent. On the front page of the Daily Independent, we have "I won't compromise 2019 polls. Buhari vows, pray for successful election." That's coming from Saraki. "Reject pessimism. Atiku brings hope." That's coming from PDP. "Embrace Christ-like virtues next year for Amado. Pray for better leaders, Secondus tells Nigerians. Still on that front page of the Daily Independent, we have Northern monarchs worried by security threats to 2019 polls. IDP sets Zamfara Council Secretariat 18 vehicles ablaze. The story of the 2019 election is still taking the front burners of the pages. We have also federal government pays 5.4 billion Paris Club refund to states. The issue of Northern monarchs being worried about the security threats to 2019 polls. I don't know.
Well, from the happenstances in the north, they're supposed to be worried. The killings in Zamfara, the killings in Kaduna, the killings in Nassau, the killings in Plateau, and almost in every part of the north. The monarch is supposed to be worried because it's not a good sign to the coming election. Because those bandits, you don't know who and who that are sponsoring them. You don't know the aim and purpose of the activities. Because they cannot be attacking the communities and other installations of this country without reason. But the problem we have is that nobody have taken steps to mask their sponsors and those that are using them. They don't get this gun. And we know that the way arms are being handled in this country is not something we go to the market and buy Israel. Before you deal on arms, you must be licensed. And before you bring in arms, the government security operation must know. But how comes that these hoodlums are having access to sophisticated weapons?
Without the government tracing the movement of those arms.
And those that are behind them. We should look into the sponsors. Once we get the sponsors controlled or arrested, those boys in the street, they won't have access to those things again. All
right. Thank you very much, Barrister Ifechukwu Jacobs, a public affairs analyst, for joining us on the show on the newspaper headlines segment. All the stories are focused on the message for the Christmas. So before we go, what will be your message in 30 seconds?
Well, to the Anambra, Merry Christmas. I wish you the best of the season.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister. That's enough we will take on this segment. Our special edition of the Christmas Day Good Morning Anambra will continue right after now.